think that'll reduce the water level. Oh, I got slaves. Okay, can't reach it. Yeah, I can do. Can they open this? Well, what can we use these guys for? Let's have a look. We can put this back. Is that low enough? Maybe we jump here. Go. Oh. Help me, boys. Don't die. I mean, they didn't die actually, they're just down there. Oh, nothing. Oh, that was a bait. Oh, there's something up there. They didn't make it. Neither will I. Oh. Mind? They got me. They got my ass. Come here, you lemmings. got something I'm supposed to grab. Yep. Hey, hello, knucklehead. Just playing this game. Oh. I don't think I was supposed to come back. What was up there? So this cord doesn't look like there's anything. Just this disco guy. What? I hear some stuff. It's like playing some movies or something. Is there anything here? I don't think so. Yeah, let's go down the elevator. Bada bing, bada boom. These guys are fucking hurting me. Leave me alone. Lift. I'll miss you boys. Won't be forgotten. did the wrong order, didn't I? Okay, I was supposed to get this one first. Can't get it now. These things are tiny. We'll turn away. I am naked. So they're watching. A gumbo of humans put together. Took a hive mind, although I got sucked in. Controlling it. That's cool. The fuck is this? Looks so cool. Oh, fuck. The fuck is he trying to do with it? Let's pick it up. Oh, this is gonna be annoying. Yes. Fuck you, dogs. Ate my ass in the beginning. Jump on this. Get over the hill. Jump. Just open the door for me. Thank you. Why are these guys helping me out? I think these are the slave mind type actual humans. I don't know. Yeah. It's a pretty nasty looking experiment. There's a pop up there. The fuck is that? Reach up and grab the excess. Some of the other side in there. Okay. I think I'm supposed to get in there. Something else. Where's boss? they done the sprinklers on these fuckers? Maybe I catch it. Oh. Yeah, we smart. No. Ah. Okay. There's one important piece of box. Come on. Got him. Yeah, I'll be burning up in this shit. This thing. Oh, these guys can help me maybe. Meow. They're like, fuck this shit. Getting outlawed. Our old friend. The rocket. Nice it. Can I get out of this thing? I want out. Need it. There we go. Oh, supposed to let go. Go, do it again. much you paid. There goes. For now. For now. What's to do in here? Come on, let me out. Pulling something apart. One of these things is gonna have an exit. There we go. Never gonna keep me caged. Yeah, monsters. We're free. Or badly injured or dead. Cool. Well, that's that. That was an amazing little game. So much detail in the environments in the background and shit. Makes it feel so alive. Beautiful art, like aesthetic, art direction. I gotta watch something about this game. It explains the story or like a making of. I saw it on YouTube. It's weird that like you can see the cutouts of the models, like which are kind of like not low quality but like basic standard 2D shit, but the amount of like polish and layering they've done around those 2D basics things make the models look very polished and developed. Not 3D like. Didn't feel like a 2D game per se. That's what I'm saying. Even though it is, which is kind of a remarkable feat. It's hard to do. We gonna ascend to the heavens or just get laid in the sun there? Oh, it's moving. Come alive, Frankenstein. Really turned into an amazing side scroller, yeah. Well, I didn't expect it to be like this. This game. This is the start again. Oh, it is. Okay. That was cool. That was like a solid 8.5 out of 10. Short and sweet, but it's super high quality. It's ranking. Is this really the same? Let's just make sure. Or is this not like some kind of... What is it called? Epilogue? Usually at the beginning they're chasing you. Oh yeah, I think this is the start. See like flashlights. Yeah. Cool. Let's have a look on this YouTube video. Where was it? It's like a story explained kind of thing. What's this?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Slipping Out. In this one, we'll be taking a look behind the scenes and out of bounds of Playdead's Inside, which of course means going outside of Inside to show you some curiosities, secrets and hidden Easter eggs you may never have seen before, including characters lurking in the background, also a closer look at the main characters, some mechanics of the game and out of bounds areas, and of course the mysteries involved within the game, some of which have still yet to be solved. To start off with, I guess we need to see where the boy appears from, and he's clinging onto the side of this rock, hidden behind some of the branches and leaves. Then of course once we start, he drops down. One detail I couldn't help but notice when I first started exploring Inside was that the leaves at the beginning of the game are shaped as love hearts. I'm not sure if this was intentional, but they do look strikingly well shaped. And instantly, this brings us to another amazing detail and Easter egg that is incredibly easy to miss. In fact, it's only because I was exploring with the camera that I found it, although it is visible from the normal view. Check it out. Hidden amongst the grass and the leaves, it is of course the boy from Playdead's other title, Limbo, which is also another great mysterious platformer, and if you do enjoy this type of genre, I'd definitely check that one out too. Now, if like me you enjoy going out of bounds just to see what's outside the normal playing domains, and let's face it, if you're watching this video then you probably are, then you may want to know what's beyond the start and behind the side-scrolling camera. Well, to be honest, at this point there's not too much, although later in the video I will be showing some strange instances of assets that go...
This isn't a...
Throughout the game we see vehicles carting off hordes of people, or dummies as I've seen them called, but where do...
Yeah, I think it was this one. Just open up these both.
Hey guys, Super Horror Bro Mike here, and in today's video we dive into the world of Inside to try and unlock the meaning behind its abstract and ambiguous story. For those who don't know, Inside is a side-scrolling game from developer
Oh, you did
Playdead,
the
who
same thing,
previously
Yoko.
made the critically acclaimed Limbo,
I don't know,
a game
it's
with a similar
interesting.
tone and style that also left many players scratching their heads as the credits rolled. It challenges players with a combination of platforming and puzzle solving, all to the backdrop of a depressing dystopia where mankind has seemingly enslaved the lower classes for radical human experimentation. Or at least that's one
Of the
theory.
puzzles,
This is,
they
as
were, like,
previously mentioned,
smart,
a game that leaves its story up to
but
the
not too hard,
interpretation of the
but
player.
also not too easy. Like, it's pretty hard to get
Inside's story
a good
begins with a
balance on
young
that
boy
sometimes.
emerging from his hiding spot within a bush as he makes his way through a forest full of masked watchmen who seem to be rounding people up and taking them away in trucks.
Yeah, the
As
beginning
the boy
was
sneaks
pretty
deeper
scary.
into the
It's a
woodland,
good
he
intro
is
to the
chased by
game.
these watchmen and their dogs.
Like, you're just on the fucking run all the time. These dogs are so scary. Always on, like, just on the edge of your tail, like, ready
It's
to
clear
bite
they
your
have no
ass.
regard for his well-being and are looking
Which is
to
good,
prevent
it's
him
like
from
really
escape
fear-
at any
you're
cost. As the
really
boy makes his
fearful.
way out of the forest and
Not,
across
like,
nearby
way too far
farmland,
where it's
he
like, "Oh, they're
encounters
never gonna
many
get me."
strange sights, such as this pig which seems to
They
have
just
been
did a lot right
implanted
with
with
this
a
game in
worm-like
terms of
creature,
balancing.
sending it into a violent frenzy. It seems the ominous government researchers have ravaged this land
Yeah,
and
this looked like
committed
the Animal
vile
Farm,
atrocities
like,
not only to its
vibes.
people but also
The
their
pigs,
livestock.
the farm.
The boy soon happens upon a helmet-like device, and once he links up to this, he is able to control other people in the vicinity.
This is pretty cool, like a gameplay feature too. You
These people
control the
seem
guys in the background.
docile and unable to move or function for themselves anymore, only doing so when control over their bodies is activated. This can be seen in detail when the boy reaches the chilling remnants of an abandoned town, now
it's
used
just-
as a sound in a shocking twist of events.
Yeah, this was kind of interesting. What happened here? Like, I just suddenly gained swimming
However, the siren
and, like,
implants his
fish-like.
body with a glowing device, which seems to resurrect him and allow this hapless child to breathe underwater and also control the other human experiments without the need for one of those terribly unfashionable helmets. After navigating
think,
through
yeah,
the
they're trying
flooded
to
runs
fast-forward
of
the
the
game or
laboratory,
something.
the boy discovers further signs
And
of
give you
human
all these powers.
experimentation, this time in zero-gravity underwater chambers. Eventually, with some help from his fellow captives, he reaches a large group of researchers and
Infinite.
scientists gathered around an aquarium. After finding a way inside this enclosure, we are met with a disturbing sight, a mass of human body parts known as the Huddle. After freeing this human blob from its mind-control devices, the boy is swallowed up by the now sentient being, which proceeds to break free of its underwater prison and smash its way through the lab like a
They
human
got what they
wrecking ball.
deserved, honestly. These fuckers. This is kind of a good feedback to the player to give them the chance to fight back after being handled the whole game.
A ton of destruction and several squish scientists later, the Huddle manages to escape the facility, whereafter it careens down a mountainside and then lands next to the ocean on a beach as the sun sets. Or perhaps rises, which could in itself signify the new life this creature has gained from the boy sneaking into one of the most dangerous places on the planet, especially after having
Okay,
seen
let's have a
what
look
happens
what
to
this
those who
is.
end up
So let's just explain what happened in the game.
Inside has a dark, ambiguous story, exploring elements of human experimentation and the fictional possibilities as the result. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator. This video will contain spoilers about Inside and some about Limbo. With that in mind, let's begin.
I can't remember what happened in Limbo, but it was a good game too, I remember.
An unnamed boy with a distinct red shirt embarks on a cryptic journey, witnessing atrocities committed by a mysterious organization, conducting human experiments,
This
while a
part was
certain group
cool,
of elites
actually.
are seeing it as an integration into a new society, a better society, with free labor force. As the boy comes across several different facilities, most of which are abandoned, leaving behind traces of what experiments were carried out there, he finally unveils the organization's recent experiment, something that he's part of as well, something that he was drawn to since the very beginning.
Daddy.
The boy climbs down a cliff, embarking on this convoluted journey through an almost monochromatic forest, with somber colors resembling how the boy in Limbo first started the game. The boy observes a truck loading up many humans and driving away, with guards wearing white masks, wielding flashlights and tranquilizer weapons to secure the forest and presumably look for any remaining cowering people. There are also multiple tanks or pods scattered around the forest, which the guards presumably use to trap people in order to mind control them. The forest seems to be heavily controlled, as there are barricades and barbed wired walls with trucks and guards roaming around, with aggressive dogs named Wolves, which might be a mixture between wolves and hounds. This brings the question to how controlled the outside world and cities are if the forest is so heavily controlled. The boy is then soon discovered by the guards, who chase him with all their might, sending the wolves after him, shooting tranquilizers towards him, and going on a careful patrol to find him. The boy, however, outsmarts them and evades them, heading to the farmlands.
Yeah, I get this.
The boy puts a suspended pitched roofs, and the people become enslaved from early on, so they can build a society of elites, desensitized and used to the knowledge that they are enslaving other people. The enslaved people are possibly being used in labor, as seen through wearing overalls and construction safety experiments. Then the boy encounters a water chamber, which levels can be easily controlled by pressing two buttons, working similarly to Limbo,
This guy's
and how
just
the water
giving
level
us
to be a functional factory,
Explanation
which
of
is
the game,
outdated
not
now.
the story.
Soon later, the boy enters an area. Don't chase after the boy anymore. He soon enters another facility and breaks out of the water tank.
It's not to get to the point. He's explaining what happens in the game rather than the story. Because, yeah, it's like someone who hasn't played it, and you tell them what happens in the game, but you don't explain like the characters of the story. But it's an inside story all in. I guess, I don't know, maybe it's
As he
up
tries
here.
to run out of the facility, he breaks through a few floors
See what I mean? He's just
the huddled
narrating it.
control helmet, which is connected to several computers, and would finally pay off, or not. The huddle is presumably their best experiment so far, as they will be able to control several consciousnesses at the same time, further fortifying their cause and intentions. The secret ending, on the other hand, suggests how the boy unplugs himself so the organization's experiment would fail and the huddle wouldn't be awakened and break free. Maybe, in a way, this in fact freed the huddle, so it won't be used and enslaved by the organization.
So it's a secret ending.
And inside, which hints out that they share the same universe. I might make a video about it. And
Alright, don't make a video about it, bro. Gamer soul. What a waste. Maybe this is it. He's saying analysis. That's probably more accurate. These two are probably better.
Really attempted this before because it just makes so much sense. Think about it. Multi-layered stories can be crafted in such a way that scholars analyze them for decades, but the analysis can only go as far as the author permits. What makes Inside unique is that without dialogue, there are bottomless gaps that pop up in the narrative, and we must use our imagination to fill in those gaps. And unlike the limits set by an author, our imagination is infinite. Because of the populace and transferring them to a facility where they can be a part of their evil mind control
Yeah, let's have a look at this up. That one was a bit better.
With the recent release of Playdead's Inside, the game has left many players wondering what the hell just happened, and if there was some sort of story they missed. Now, while I definitely don't claim that my interpretation of the plot is the one true way to see it,
Okay,
and I've read a
maybe
few
this guy's
theories that
onto
are
it.
just as good, I've spent some time picking apart the details of the game and feel somewhat confident with the conclusions I've made. Now, one thing to note, my interpretation of the story assumes that Inside does have a story, and assumes that the story is somewhat literal and not metaphorical in its form. Lastly, this is obviously going to spoil the game pretty heavily, so I'd recommend that you play Massive Flood. This flood consumed a large portion of the world and forced the higher powers of the government to scramble for solutions. The flood may even still be ongoing, and may have come in waves, as evidenced by the multiple layers of facilities, though they could just be multiple facilities built at the same time that succumbed at different points to the immense depths of the water. With vast quantities of water covering the world, this caused civilization to build upwards. By constructing cities on top of cities and creating artificial land masses to climb ever upwards, they were able to hold off the waters a bit longer. Civilization is collected into large walled-off city structures that are interconnected by raised tramways, as most of the ground is unsafe to travel except by government officials. These city structures not only protect against rising waters for a period of time and allow for infrastructure to divert water, but they also may serve the function of building blocks, as I'll cover later. While civilization still exists, it is in a tenuous position at best. Even now, in the city seen at the start of the game, many people are fleeing due to another potential flood or to construct a new and improved city to survive. With such dangerous conditions, the government seized totalitarian control and created 4 different solutions to ensure humanity's survival, with each solution building off of another and culminating into the final one seen.
Yeah, I wonder, what happened to the water? Like all of a sudden, the facilities were filled with water and stuff. I'm trying to think like maybe they need the water to for their experiments. Like there's some kind of uh like whatever technology they have to brainwash these guys or whatever, those cables or something that had hooked up to those water beings with the long hair and that kill you in the water. Maybe like they have to be underwater to send whatever, I don't know, put them in a state where they're more in like a comatose state or some docile state to be brainwashed or something. Because the water, yeah, it seemed like it was a big part of this game, like something they were using it. I don't know. I don't know if it was just a flood. That wouldn't make sense because if they have all these powers, I mean, like abilities to, to brainwash people and stuff, they definitely have the ability to like live above water, right? So it seemed like it was more of a decision that they're using the water or in the facilities. You know what I mean? The water didn't. It seemed like it was there for a purpose. It wasn't like, oh, we got flooded kind of thing. And there was there was those levers and stuff in the facility to make use of the water. Like it looks like they're actively using the water. It wasn't something where it was an accident and they're trying to like, yeah.
And the one that impacts most of the
That's
others
my
involves
take.
the parasites the flood brought. These parasites seize mental control of an organism and cause it to become extremely hostile. In addition, these parasites thrive in water and begin to replicate at an incredible rate in the waterlogged state of the world. There are some other aspects of the parasites as well, but I'll address those as they become relevant. With these new parasites, the government begins to experiment with mind control. Mind control will allow for the upper class to thrive, while the lower class toils on the superstructures that ensure their survival. In addition, by creating a lower class of mind drones, the upper class can abandon human ethics in an effort to find more outlandish solutions to the flood problem. At this point, the government needs to find a way to massively incapacitate the population to allow for them to have their minds wiped so that they can be controlled later. One possible solution to the problem is the shockwave weapon found deep underground, which may have just been an experimental weapon that was never fully utilized.
Yeah, I
Although
think
the shockwave could just as easily be a deterrent to keep people and creatures away from the innermost depths of the testing facilities, or could have other applications I haven't fully considered, such as stemming the flood in some way. Regardless, the government eventually opts to use automated shock coil drones that can target the lower
I think it was
class
more
while
of a
posing no
weapon.
threat to the elites. The drones are able to differentiate between the upper and lower
because it's
classes by their
kind of a
masks.
common thing, and not a common thing, but like it's in real life where you can use sound as a weapon. Like it's very powerful. those, what is it in law enforcement? Those trucks or whatever, they have the sound radar thingies and that blocks your ears. What is it? Yeah.
That the upper class wears when in areas that the drones operate. Once subdued, the lower classes are put into sensory deprivation tanks that put them into a permanent sleeping state. From here, the mind control helmets can emit a frequency of some sort that manipulates these sleepers to do the operator's bidding, or trick some sort of implanted parasite into thinking they are responding to the head of the mass, with the parasite subdued due to the water tanks. Some of these tanks are piped upwards to the sky in case another flood comes, or additional levels of cityscape are required. Another possibility is that the parasites were an epidemic of massive proportions, and the government is gathering infected citizens to subdue the normally aggressive parasites, and they are so hostile towards the player because they are afraid of another outbreak. Though I think this is less likely than the government being a malicious totalitarian force. While
Yeah.
the first stage
I've been
of the
in one
project
of
is a success,
them
the mind control is primitive
few
and
times,
requires
the
a single operator to be in
deprivation
relative
tanks.
proximity to its targets in order to manipulate them effectively. Regardless, the second stage of experiments is created to explore other options for survival. This stage involves creating microbiomes to sustain civilization in the flood, and also to create trees that mature and grow at an extremely rapid rate, as shown by the tree that punctured glass.
I don't know. I'm kind of like an introspective, like loner type, so it's not too doesn't affect me too much, but I could see like if you're extroverted or something and you need like more stimulus in what you see, what you hear and all that, it can be quite jarring. But you just sitting there. Imagine just sitting in your quiet room. It's the same thing, but just um like you're sitting in a uh like a pool of water or something. The actually another thing they do when I went in is they have these salts. Forgot what kind of salt it was called, but I don't know. They do something. I forgot what it was. They have what salts used in deprivation tank and why. There's a reason for Epsom salt. Gives you like yeah, that's why it provides buoyancy. So it allows you to float on the water, and they do that by putting Epsom salt, just magnesium sulfate. You can buy this, I think, and it has some like good health um, benefits and stuff. I think it just it helps you with magnesium intake or something, which a lot of people lack. Um, yeah, I tried it like using it for introspection and stuff. It was kind of difficult because I think I was like even more left alone with my thoughts, and like so your thoughts become even more focused because there's not much distractions. But I had like an option they have for you to what's it called? Play music, like peaceful music too. So you can have that. I don't know. It's one of those things you just do to see what it's like. Yeah, I was trying to like use it just for like I don't know healing therapeutic uses and stuff, just to chill out or something. But it's a little I guess overhyped. Maybe I think it's one of those things where you have to like build a life. What I've read about it, you gotta like build a lifestyle around it, where you do it like a lot of times to kind of get in your zone. You know how like in your life experiences, I don't know, like sex or like eating something or fishing and stuff, you don't really know what you're doing the first like few times, and you have to do it like a lot more to get more comfortable with it. I think it's like that. So that's my first impressions, but there's probably more to it once you get more experienced.
And may even be able to have their growth controlled via some form of implant. This allows for huge amounts of fuel to be harvested to power the furnaces in the labs, and also as a potential form of support for upper levels of city structures. With fuel and workers no longer a major concern, the scientists begin to search for ways to create an artificial life form that can survive underwater, perhaps as a way to augment workforces by creating an underwater operator or a set of drones, or even as a potential endgame solution to the issue of the floods entirely. These forms are raised from an extremely young age and created via an umbilical implant that changes their biological makeup, allowing them to breathe underwater and influence mine drones without need of a helmet. While again, the third stage of experiments are successful, they are not explored further due to the value they introduce with their underwater breathing and helmetless control
Yeah, I
capabilities.
really don't get this bit.
After studying the
Because, like, the whole game, those water guys are chasing you and killing you. And all of a sudden, like, he decides to help you out. Yeah. But I think they did that just for the sake of, like, introducing new gameplay elements for you to be able to swim underwater like this and introduce some weird, wacky, upside down world where the bottom's where gravity is and the top is the floatless waters.
parasites, the scientists discover that individual parasites act as a part of a whole.
Because, like, if you want to introduce that gameplay mechanic, it's hard to explain story-wise, you know? So, I don't know, maybe they just don't.
They instinctively seek out stronger or larger bodies to group up with and create powerful amalgamations. With this information in mind, and the success of the third stage experiments, scientists began the fourth stage to create a human-parasite hybrid that can be cultivated in water, and can group together to create a powerful master node to control multiple mine drones at once from great distance, to perform more focused tasks that will reduce the struggle to outbuild the floods. Early stages of this experiment involve individuals being monitored in observation rooms while they develop, their progress and growth under careful scrutiny. However, over time, the hybridization causes massive physical deformations and create horrifying nerve reactions in individual body parts, potentially making them act on their own, and require the subjects to be cultivated in large-scale breeding pools, similar to the sensory deprivation tanks, while they fully mature. Another possible reason for these breeding pools is that due to the propensity for the hybrids to split apart, new replacement bodies would be needed to augment the master node over time. To help facilitate breeding pools that can be monitored effectively, gravitational control of water is developed on a small scale, with again the possibility of an endgame solution to the flood being a secondary objective. While the experiments have been going on for some time, there has never been a successful master node cultivated before the waters consume the facility, as seen by the remains of old facilities throughout the game. But with the steady crawl of advancement over time, a master node is finally close to completion in the facility towards the end of the game. At this point, for some reason, someone within the upper echelons of scientists rebels. They secretly begin spying on the project and gathering as much data as they can in an attempt to undermine it. Whoever this person is, they enjoy listening to a particular piece of music, which is what led me to believe in this connection. To enact their plan, this person flees to the countryside and sets up a shelter to hide themselves from any would-be pursuers. Along the way, they create a node relay that can broadcast mind control fields over a greater distance and feed them into a central command.
Yeah, I think these are like the Easter egg stuff, right? When you go, there was some of them you could blow up, and this one I remember going next to, and you could hear like music or something coming out of it. This is, I never saw this bit. I must have missed it. It looks like he's gone somewhere. This guy's saying that potentially this guy's hideout. I never actually saw this bit.
Themselves from any would-be pursuers. Along the way, they create a node relay that can broadcast mind control fields over a greater distance and feed them into a central command point. From this position, they can control an agent to infiltrate the facility and stop the project before it can completely subsume the lower ranks of society and potentially halt the harsh experimentation entirely. The agent they choose for the infiltration is the child we play in the game. Depending on what we as the player choose, we can either liberate the master node and stop the project from reaching its full conclusion, or we disconnect the mind control relay and finally the main control node entirely, giving up on the attempt. Where this true operator is not entirely clear. Are they within the final node, hence why we do not see what is inside? Or are they somewhere else entirely? One possible explanation is that the operator is the player themselves, and the whole game is a bizarre meta-narrative. But since I am choosing to believe a more literal interpretation of the game, I choose to ignore this possibility. There are also a few other
I can see
questions I
that
don't have
bit.
completely solid answers for. Why do the animals in the game flock to us and act somewhat intelligently, as seen with the fish disconnecting the stage 3 genetic implant that allows us to breathe underwater? One possible conclusion is that the animals, much like the mine drones, are drawn to the mind control waves due to their extremely weak minds, and since we are being controlled by a network relay, they may pick up on the signal and group around us. Or maybe the animals detect that the child is somehow related to the parasites and are seeking him for food, with the fish being conditioned by the scientists for some reason, as there seem to be some fish within the facilities proper. Another question is whether or not society is building upwards to escape the flood, or if they are building upwards because they are sinking down. The final shot shows us in a vast expanse of gray, and while it is possible it could just be the horizon, it is also not too far outside the realm of possibility that we are in an underground cavern, as the Shockwave facility was also a large sandy stretch of land far beneath the surface. And relating to this, are the numbers shown throughout the game denoting the particular experiment, or are they denoting individual facilities,
This guy's going
with the
for
fourth being the
a few
most recent one
stretches
developed while the others have long
out in
since
the
succumbed to the
imagination.
floods? Either are
That's for
plausible,
sure.
and both show that the experiments have been going on for some time. Regardless, I don't claim that any of my interpretations are true fact, but I felt like sharing in case you had literally
That's
no idea
interesting,
where
though.
to even begin parsing the weird imagery shown in the game. There are plenty of other ideas that are just as valid as these, and in truth, never knowing the true answer is half the fun.
Yeah, that one I definitely agree on. I think it's true. If you would know, if you would know all the like things for exact detail, then your mind wouldn't be scrambling for constant imagination, you know? This guy. So the mystery of it is what kind of keeps it interesting too. Really interesting game. Hey, I'm gonna end the stream now, but thanks for coming and talking, Yoko. If you wanna watch me later or whatever, just follow if you want. Alright, I'm out.